Hold on, I got error. Hold on, shit. Why won't I share to my page? Okay.
I don't know.
Why does it keep doing this? I need to share my page. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Psychic Kitchen. We're with Andy Barlow. He runs a spiritual community at www.iam.community that helps people empower themselves. How you guys doing today?
Doing very well, thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me on. I really appreciate this. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Glad you to be here, brother.
Jimmy.
Andy, good to see you as always. Would you like to just spend a few minutes just to introduce yourself, just to let us know who you are?
Really?
Sorry.
Yeah. So my name's Andy Barlow. Been working around the truth scene for a few years. Woke up into my spiritual journey in 2020. Always knew something wasn't quite right. So for me, the journey was a fast learning one. So I've always been trying to help people, trying to serve others, trying to put things together. My whole story, I don't know how much you want me to talk about my whole story and how I got to where I am now. I mean, I'm more than happy to. Go on.
However much you would like to.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Well, always been aware things were wrong. I mean, my old man always called me the black sheep of the family, which is part of the cause why I'm different. But I could never figure out why 9/11 for me was a huge wake up call for me, especially when you're working at the airport and you suddenly understand what the hell's a tin can going through a building for. So we've got to understand that. And obviously, fast forward to 2019, when things started going wrong in the world, I started questioning things again, especially with being medically trained. When someone says you're going to die from this so-called, I'm not going to say it obviously, you're going to die from this so-called whatever it is. And my wife, now ex, was sitting there as a nurse, and she went, "Oh, we're all going to die." And I went, "Yeah, one day, not now." It took me a while to realize how we're being duped. And then I started working with common law to try and help people through processes and dealing with the corporate entities, etc. But then get fast forward through to 2020 in August. This is when I sort of woke up spiritually. I'd gone down the rabbit holes, very deep, dark rabbit holes of the so-called problem in the world, plus all the legal lawful processes, and I couldn't see a way out. So it got to, well, it's ingrained in my memory. August the 30th, 2020, 8:12 p.m. I tried to kill myself. At that point, I'd done my video goodbyes to my kids to tell them I loved them and I can't take this anymore. And I sat there with a knife, ready to slit my wrists, and then someone shouted, "Stop!" And I went, I lived alone. Where did that come from? It was as loud as what we're talking now, followed by the phone ringing. And it's someone I hadn't spoken to for way over 30 years, maybe more. A chap called Gary Fullard, based in Guernsey. He was about 150 miles away from me at the time. And the first thing he said to me on the phone was, "Put the knife down."
Really?
Yeah. And I thought, whoa, how did he know what's going on? Now, he's very spiritual himself. He's a big Star Wars fan. And one of the first things he said to me afterwards was, "I felt a disturbance in your force." He said, "And I had to reach out to you." I went, "Wow, really?" And that opened me up to this spirituality thing. And I got the concept was, yay, great. VW camper buses driving around smoking weed with dreadlocks, running naked in the field singing Kumbaya. That's to me what spirituality was based on the movies. So I started going to spiritual meditation groups and trying to learn about myself. And then did a medicine weekend with Bufo, which opened my mind so much. I quit my job the next day. So in 2021, I walked away from my job and realized I was in here service for others. And I've just been going down my path of the way. I look at some of these so-called spiritual gurus that are going out there now, and I think yeah, you're charging me that much to tell me what I already know. I'm just going to link into it to myself. So, and then I thought, okay, how do we do it? So we created Stand in Your Power website. That was our first inkling to try and help people. And it literally was that we want you to stand in your power and realize that as a living man or woman, no one has authority over you. So we started that one, shut it down after a while because he got infiltrated quite badly by the truth scene. Then we did Empower the Soul on Telegram, and we were up to around about, I think at one point we got about 6,000 members on that site alone. And again, that got heavily infiltrated, and it was just a mess. Even though they said it was private, it wasn't. So I closed it all down. I walked away from the truth scene in mid to the end of 2022. I walked away for it completely because I'd seen it as a psyop. I said it's just causing people more harm than good. I just started concentrating on myself. As in that, healing wise and learning more about spirituality has to come from within. And you got to face your dark night of the soul. I'm still going through my dark night of the soul. I know that. So lots of trauma to go through. Then I came up, started doing the mantras. I am. So when I started doing those, I thought, what a great name for a website. I am. Well, we want a community as well, so let's call it the I am community. And I started building it, and we launched. We're just over a year old now. We launched, I think, with about 5 people joined at the first point. We're now roughly about 200, which is really nice to see. Jimmy's obviously on there as well, which is great for his sins. But yeah, for me at the moment, it's just purely about trying to help people now. I don't charge fees. I don't charge anything like that to anybody. It's all based on energy exchange and donation, because that's how we should be living, in my opinion. And I just try and help people and heal people as best I can through what I do. So that's basically me in a nutshell.
Excellent story. And I think you're the third one in a row, third person we've had in a row who tried to kill themselves, and that was the catalyst for their awakening, shall we say, or their realization opening, their journey that they're on at the moment.
Yeah, it's weird because a couple of days after I got contacted by a friend down in Southampton. She said, you need to go and see this Reiki healer called Jane Jones. I went, okay. I thought, what's Reiki? I didn't know anything about it this time. This is me opening my mind up to think, what the hell's all this about? And I went down to see her, and it was a really weird, full of questions. She's standing there. She's got her guides with her, and she's like this, going, I'll tell him in a minute. I'm going, what's going on here? She said, it's just my guide. She said, one's a next school teacher and all this lot, and she explained it to me. But then she started telling me information about myself that no one else knew. I thought, whoa, this is spooky. How does she know this? And that's when I started realizing that there is something more than this meat suit that we're currently in. And I realized very quickly with Jane, she did a lot of work with me, how spiritual we all really are. And it's been closed down to us for so long. We just got to break out of this. This got to become the butterfly or the moth, whatever you want to be. Just get out of the larval stage. I think that's what we have to do.
Aye, definitely.
But now, when you're attracting all these people to you, like, what kind of difference have you seen in people's lives?
Wow. It's a weird one to try and answer, because a lot of people I work with, they're on their own journeys. I try not to influence their journey too much, but when it comes to they're coming for help for legal love process, I'll try to give them as much guidance as I can. And then I see the elation and the smiles on their faces when what I give them as the guidance works. And the fact that just through me talking to them and asking simple questions like, how are you? It breaks down the barriers to make them suddenly realize, wow, somebody actually cares. Somebody's asked me how I am. And 9 times out of 10, I mean, Jimmy knows on some of the Wednesday night chats we do, someone always bursts into tears because we ask the question, how are you? And I think that's what's been missing. As I've saying, I keep getting told I'm a healer. I keep being told I can heal with my voice when I do my talks. A lot of people take a lot of comfort and a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Just comfort. So yeah, comfort from what I say. So for me, it's the question of I can stand in a room and talk to a lot of people, and you can see the changes on their faces when they come. And they go, "Wow, I never knew that. That's just amazing what you can do." And I did a talk at Truth Juice in Birmingham on Tuesday, and there's quite a few people turned up. And this is, for me, this is really weird to understand because I'm still learning a lot about power and spiritual and all this lot. And they turn and say something triggered. She said, "I just literally felt I had to come here today to listen to you." And that for me, I thought, why? I'm just a man. I'm nothing. I'm nothing special, but maybe I am. But do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It's just almost like things line up, don't they? It's synchronistic, and we get certain feelings, and if we can listen to those feelings and act on them, and sometimes we don't even know why we're having the feelings. We just know we have to do something, and obviously people felt like they needed to go and talk to you. When I saw your TikTok, I was telling you earlier, when I saw your TikTok, I thought I need to be a part of this group. This sounds like a group, because I've seen a lot of the sovereign and legal and lawful stuff online before, and like I was saying to you earlier, most people, or everyone that I've seen previously, they spout all of this stuff about legal and lawful and sovereign and everything, promissory notes and stuff like that, but they've got no substance to back it up with. They've got no evidence. They've got no proof. Whereas what I've seen from you, you've got proof. You've got evidence. You can say, right, this is what I've personally done myself, and here's the evidence to show you that it works, or whatever. And you've obviously refined the processes over time, because, like you say, they move certain things. The goalposts, they're sneaky like that. But then again, but that's what drew me to you in the first place, because you've got evidence in you, and you've got proof that you can do what you say you can do.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, people know when they come to me for help on legal lawful processes, is I say straight away, I will not guide you down any path I've not done myself. So people says, can you help me with the mortgage process? No, because I've never done a mortgage. I know other groups who can do it, so I'll only ever help you what I know. And when it comes to people say, "Oh, are you a Reiki healer?" Yeah, I've done my Reiki 1, but it doesn't make me a healer as such. But I can talk to you, and I can pull information out and try and guide you into what other areas you might need to be looking at. But for me, the most time is getting people to realize who they really are, and just you're not a name, you are a spirit, and you're everybody I believe is very powerful in their own right. And I think once the spiritual network, as I call it, or spiritual internet connects, there's no stopping us. We're just very powerful beings.
Do you feel like, because I see this in the spiritual community, I've been doing this a while, there's like a lot of factions of people. Like there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of, I mean, I've been seeing this for so long anyways, but there's so much competition, and it's like going to be something like a rapture or whatever. It's like these people have to work together.
Yeah, and this has been my argument, especially when it comes around like the truth scene and everything else. Everybody talks about we must come together, and when I say to people, I mean, I got invited on recently to do a table of 12 people from around the country to try and bring things together. And I just sat in the background and listened. I thought, I'm just going to sit and listen, see what's coming out. And that's when I heard the egos coming out. Oh, I'm going to do this, but I don't need your help. This is my group. I thought, do you know what? Until you drop that I must be in charge nonsense, nothing's ever going to happen. We're never going to come together. We've got to drop this BS front and say, if we work together as one. And we come together and we connect properly, and then everything's slung into place. But until people start wanting to be in control, I mean, Jimmy knows, and a lot of people on the website know, I'm not in charge of that website. I created it. I pay the bills and everything, but it doesn't make me the leader. It doesn't make me the guru. I've always said I'm not a leader. I'm just a man who knows a lot of shit who can try and help people. But it's like you say, until there's just so much competition, and a lot of it's driven by the greed for the money, unfortunately.
I mean, Jimmy's seen it happen to me. I mean, we've seen all kinds of stuff, but yeah, I've had people come after me. That was more of a relationship issue. But the point is like, man, you're also on TikTok, correct?
Hmm.
Yeah, on TikTok alone, I had like hundreds of people coming after me.
Wow.
But it's just like, because I'm pretty well known on there, so it's like people like all over the place, rumors, innuendos. I'm like, oh
Hmm.
my god, this is so stupid. Um, but you can't stop it, and it's just it reflected to me what I would see even when I had a teacher at one time. It was a Mayan shaman from this long lineage. Even the people in the class, it's like people are very envious of certain things.
Mm.
And you'll
Mm.
see things in the shadows. I don't know if I'm getting off course here, but you'll see things in the shadows of like people accuse people of other things of things they're already doing. And it's just like, why can't people just all come together? I
Mm.
don't understand this. Why does there have to be this competition? Why does it have to make people, if someone gets to a certain level, why does someone else have to try to take them down?
I think it's because it's been indoctrinated into us for many, 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 many years. It's ingrained into our DNA that we've always you've got to keep up with the Joneses. I mean, where I used to live in Guernsey, where I was born and bred, is if someone bought an Audi A4, someone had to go and buy the Audi A3, and if someone bought a 3 bedroom house, somebody would go and buy a 4 bedroom house because they always had to go one better. And that's the problem we've currently got at the moment. Is like you say, people will need to be better than everybody else. We're not. We're all the same.
Yeah.
Mm.
As far as I'm concerned, there's no difference to any of us. We're all just man. We're all just here for a reason. So
Mm.
let's just stop this competition and work together.
I
And
guess
this is
that's
this.
kind of there might be
Go on.
kind of where they have exams in school because and they're graded and to encourage that competition, to encourage you to sort of test yourself again. I mean, it's good to test ourselves, and I'm not
Of course
saying
it
that,
is.
but to compete against other people and have a league table of this is the best school and this is the and especially sport. I mean, I'm as guilty. I love sports, and I'm not as much into it now because I used to be competitive as anything. I used to want to win as bad as anyone, but at the same time, I've seen now that competitiveness can also bring a lot of frustration and sadness because if you don't win, it's like it's the end of the world, but it's
Mm.
not.
But
So,
that's because the system's designed to create division. I mean, the Jesuit order that runs the system, it creates a division. They created lots of religions. They created lots of sports to divide people. I mean, you can see it in football now. Two sets of fans berate each other during if there's an argument, and you think, where's that spirit in the everyday life? Why aren't they using that energy to come together and stand up against the dark forces that are out there at this moment in time? It just baffles me.
and that's kind of why, because I saw someone else say this, and I thought, yeah, that's 100%. Well, at least it makes sense to me that's why all of the top sportsmen, men and women, get paid the big money because they keep that illusion, that facade going, that people wanted to be that. So therefore they start. And there's a song, my favorite band, Wishbone Ash, called "Why Don't We?" And in there's a couple of lines that says, "Competing against everyone, a trap that will ensnare."
Yeah,
And I thought
it's very true.
yeah, poetically, that's brilliantly put. Simplicity in 2 lines. So,
I mean, for me, it's one of the best songs I tell people to listen to if they're trying to figure out how to play this game of life as such. Is literally Queen's song "Play the Game." The lyrics are very very true. If you don't know the rules, you can't play the game. And if you know the rules, playing the game, you play it with love.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's where the dark falls because they can't do anything with love. They really can't. And if we're shining our light and positivity and that lot, but everything gets thrown at us. Look at all the crap that's coming out on social media to everybody at the moment. Let's keep their vibrations low. Really? Stop. Stop looking at your Black Mirror.
It's kind of ironic as well because they've also got a song that says "We Are the Champions." So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say to people, go and listen to that song by Muse, Compliance. That'll tell you a lot of things.
yeah, and their other one, what's it? Resist? Is it Resist?
Oh,
No,
the Resistance and Uprising as well.
yeah.
They put everything in their songs.
Yeah, I've listened to Muse lately with open eyes or open ears, I suppose. And I think there's a lot of stuff that bands have put in songs that you don't necessarily appreciate to start off when you first start listening to them, and then when you start to become more open and more aware, and you can kind of see, oh yeah, that's what they mean.
Yeah.
What I think they mean, shall I say? I mean, that might not be because we're not them, but you know.
It always makes you wonder, where do they find these lyrics from, and who told them to write these lyrics? Does it come from spirits? Does it come from the dark forces?
Yeah, I wonder that, to be honest with you.
There's so much in music that is true to what we're trying to do on this realm as it is.
Yeah, exactly. So
I think a lot of it just channels out. So, but the thing is, like you touched on the topic that people are at each other's throats with a lot of things and division. And it's like when I see this, and I just use the TikTok ban kind of thing, even I think it may take 2 years to go through, but from a legal process. But the thing is like, I was like, if this doesn't show, even as an American, if this doesn't show Americans anything, is that we're not in a two-party system, we're in a one-party system.
yeah.
And everyone, like, I made a video in the comments, and people are like on my main page on TikTok, and they're like going crazy. They're like, no, but I'm like, you don't get it. There's no separation. They give you two choices. They put you in tribalism. And then you get to think you choose something else. And that's really all it comes down to. And I'm like, whether it's rich or poor or whatever, but everything comes down to a matter of perspective. And people hate it when I say that to Mandy. They hate that. I'm like, it's really a matter. I was like, you have an interesting perspective. Like, what does that mean? And I'm like, well, it does come down to a matter of perspective. Like, you know, can you tell me this side, at least in America, with the left and the right, can you tell me this side is right and this side is wrong? No, you can't, because there is no division here. Like, it's the same party. The same people are paying.
Yeah, you're right. It is they give you the choice of color, blue or red, which obviously in the Matrix and everything else, that's all they do. Same as in the UK. You got blue, red, and what's it, mustard color or something for the Lib Dems, whatever it's called, I don't know. But it's only ever going to be a 2-horse race in a one-party system. So they're always going to win. Whoever they think, should we put them in power this time? But I always, when people say about this, I say, yeah, but why are you voting? We want change. You ain't going to get it. Change comes from within. You make the change. If you don't change yourself, how can you afflict change with others? And they sort of look at me and go, what? What are you talking about? I said, well, putting a corporate entity into power is not going to change your life. It'll change it for the worse, because they'll tax you to death and whatever. But if you come under the understanding that you were created by God, or whichever your belief system is, and that you're created as a man or woman, then no one is more powerful than man or woman except your creator. And we're not here to worship false idols. We're not here to worship sports stars and whatever. We're not here to worship them, because we're not supposed to worship false idols. We're supposed to only answer to the creator. And I'm not religious in any way, shape, or form, but please don't think I am that way. But I am starting to read the Bible, because the Bible teaches me a lot of things about how we should run our lives. It's like a book on, it's almost like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy in some way. So read this book and you'll find out the answer's 42. So that's just the way I look at it at the moment. It's just crazy, really crazy system we're living in.
I haven't really read I started to read the Bible like twice, and I stopped after about 20 or 30 pages. I might give it another go. I was more interested in the Book of Enoch, I must admit, because that was the one that they left out. But I mean, you know a bit about the Bible, Thomas, don't you?
I know. I prefer to read the Book of Thomas, actually. A lot of people believe that's like Q Source, the original gospel. I know I studied a lot of theology, or the books of the Christ Child 1, 2, and 3. These are more like Gnostic texts, or the Nag Hammadi library, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's even the Bible. I mean, I think Jesus came as and I'm not Christian anymore, but Jesus came as a representation of what people could be. Was really the key to it. And
he was just,
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, for me, he was just a man trying to do the right thing.
Yeah. And if anyone was like Edgar Casey, if you've heard of him, like, he said he simply came as like a conduit to show people what they could be. And people talk about like Christ consciousness and all these other concepts, and it's like essentially it's like the higher and lower natures of the soul warring for dominance. So like that's one interpretation of Revelation. But what I'm getting at though is that it's what I see now, at least on social media. I'm starting to see it in everyday walking life. People are fighting like I've never seen them fight before.
Mm.
And I'm starting to see it. I knew it would start at first when I saw it online, like on TikTok years ago or Facebook. I was like, this is going to get bad. And then it started to get bad. I'm like, now it's going to spill out into like when I'm walking around. And I'm starting to see that. And I'm like, so if we keep people angry and mad at each other, nothing ever changes. And then it just gets crazier. Then the vibration of the world changes. And you can't get everyone to stay positive because people secretly want, some people, a lot of people secretly want to make those comments. They want to lash out, even if they won't admit it. And I see this with like there's some JoJo Siwa girl on TikTok and Instagram. Everyone's attacking this girl. And I'm just like, this is a 20-year-old person. Like, can we leave her alone? Like, I'll make a comment and no one will respond to me, but they'll just keep harassing her. I'm like, what if it was you on the camera? Like, what if it was you people are making videos about? And then someone like unalives themselves or something. And it's like, where's the responsibility? Like, you guys kind of push them to this. So
this is one of the big issues I found in doing what I do. People aren't able to take responsibility for their own actions. They want you to take the liability and the responsibility for them, and they'll just carry on doing what they want doing. And that's what I'm trying to change with people: is actions have consequences. So therefore, if you're not prepared to take the responsibility for your own actions, there's going to be a consequence for that. It's like I always say, when people say, how much do I owe you? I said, nothing. It's an energy exchange. You do what you need to feel right for me. For me, there's got to be a balance in the universe at all times. But unfortunately, there's an imbalance in the universe because the people are just take. They're not prepared to give back. Until we break that cycle and that habit that those people are in, the imbalance is going to stay there for a while, and that anger will stay. But when I was, again, Truth Juice, they were saying, yeah, but we need to stand up and fight. I said, no, you don't. You don't need to fight at all. Yeah, but, no, yeah, but. You really don't. I said, you stand up and fight, it's game over. I said, because they will introduce martial law and then you've got total dominance and control by the evil ones. I said, so if you don't fight, you just continue living your life and don't get involved in that fear porn, as I call it, and just live your life and worry about the world you're in. The fact we're water, so what's your state of seas inside you at the moment? Are you calm? Are you choppy? Are you stormy? I said, if you're calm, just keep going. A smile, say hello to people, activate them with your smile and a saying hello. To me, it's not rocket science, but it seems to be coming like you have to have a PhD in this at the moment.
Well, so I say, how can you fight for peace? I mean, it's just an oxymoron.
Yeah.
If the oxymoron is the word I'm looking for, but
we'll go with it.
Yeah, sounds good enough. But yeah, but it's interesting. I don't know because obviously we both spoke about being attacked online. How have you? And I'm sure it's happened to. And I know about what you've told us about some of this. I know about some of the times that you've had, and obviously you as well, Thomas. How would you? Have you got any advice for people who are sort of going through the same, like they're being attacked? Because obviously, especially with the work that you both do, there are some people who, shall we say, they don't like what you're doing, because you're having results at the things that you're doing, and so they don't like that. But do you have any advice for those who are sort of going through a similar thing?
I used to take it very personally. I used to get really upset and frustrated and think, why are they doing this to me? I'm just trying to do something good for someone. And then it soon came to realization, okay, put my Jedi shield up and say, okay, you're looking in a mirror. So, and this came from when Jen used to tell me this shit. It's a mirror reflection of what's inside them. So they need to go away and deal with their trauma. And I used to, now it doesn't bother me what people say. I get attacked on a regular basis, not nastily, but there's always those sly little comments sneaking in somewhere. And I just say, that's your opinion. I send it back to you with love. Because as far as I'm concerned, I don't care what they think of me anymore. They just need to go and deal with their own dark souls. They need to go and deal with what's inside them. It's difficult, because it took me a long time to look in the mirror and say, I love you. I hated looking in the mirror. I hated looking at this, thinking, oh, what a horrible man. But it's taken me a long time to realize that this is the most beautiful man in the world to me. And once you can break that barrier down, then people will stop throwing the accusations and being nasty to people. I don't know what you think, Thomas.
Well, so for context, like, I do a lot of spiritual work. So from a spiritual perspective, though, a lot of things I've noticed is that a lot of people send people to me for like negative entities and stuff of that nature, and negative energies and that. And like, a lot of times I've noticed when I start something new, because I'll have some pretty radical. Jimmy's been watching me for a long time, like on Facebook. I was very rebellious in the beginning. Radical ideas, and I start implementing those, and I start moving forward, and then something gets thrown in my path, and they're like, no. I'm like, I'm gonna go do this with homeless people. And then like, I'm talking to one of my friends, and he's like, yeah, I can see dark eyes are like looking at you like, oh dear God, he's gonna go do that. And I'm like, but I was like, if Jesus was around right now, he wouldn't be, and I don't know why I keep bringing up Jesus, but he wouldn't be in churches. He would be with homeless people. He would be in the trenches.
I agree.
He wouldn't be doing all those things. So I've just noticed that it's a very interesting thing, because even with what happened with me, which is over with now, but it was like I was accused of the very thing I was fighting against. And I was like, F is this, but you can't stop mob mentality. That's the thing. Once they're in it, they're in it. So like, you can't stop it. I was like, there's nothing I can do. I just got to wait this out. And so it's spiritual envy's whole thing too. I've noticed that as well. So I'm like, I'm just doing my fucking job.
And that's it. And that's where I look at it now, is I'm here in service. I'm here to do my job, to make life better for everybody else, and hopefully the lives I touch makes their lives better. And the feedback I do get, and I don't ask for feedback or anything, but I do get feedback coming through on what I've done for them, and it is always very positive. You've changed my life. You've made me see from a different light. You made me understand that I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. No, you've got to. But you should be doing anything till you know who you are. And it's taken me a long time, and I still don't 100% know who I am. I mean, Jane Jones has always said to me, she said, you are one of the most powerful souls I've ever met. She said, but until you know who you really are, she said, you're never going to know your true gifts. And I sit there and go, oh, am I going to shoot laser beams from my chest? She said, no, she said, but you have got power. She said, but that power will stay hidden until you're ready to deal with it. I went, really? Do you know what I mean? It's gone.
I've got a question. Do you think knowledge is power? You know, that there's that old axiom, knowledge, or the saying, knowledge is power. But I mean, I probably can be in a way, but wisdom is also power, obviously. But obviously, you have a lot of knowledge. I've seen the knowledge that you have. You've learned so much about the lawful and legal system, and how it's sort of entrapment in a way, and how words are used cleverly by the powers that be, shall we say, to just think one thing, but it's actually done another, and the different meanings. But yeah, do you feel like knowledge is power, or is that power something else?
I think knowledge is power if it's used in the right context, and it's used in the right class, for me, the right jurisdiction of what you're working in. Unfortunately, too many people cross jurisdictions. They're not sure where they should be, so they abuse the power that knowledge can give them. Because the pen is always mightier than the sword. We know that, but if they're using the knowledge incorrectly, they're going to find themselves in the world of hurt. So it's got to be something that people have to understand themselves and know what they're doing with. So knowledge is power, but knowledge is also corruption. For me, that's where it comes from. Wisdom for me is a better one to use, because we build up our wisdom as we go through on our journey, in my opinion. The knowledge is already there. It's already in here. We just got to unlock it. But the wisdom we were given by our elders and we're given by spirit, whatever, as we go along our path. So for me, wisdom is a better way.
And it's almost like that we have to have, well, I mean, we don't have to necessarily do anything, but I'll use that word, but we have to have an open mind in order, because that's how we learn. It's like at the moment we think we know everything, we're closing our minds in a sense. I mean, because I know you've learned so much, and I've learned a lot from you already, and we haven't really done anything per se, but I still know I've got a long way to go to learn the legal and law system. And I'm grateful for you for sort of putting me on that, because I was aware of certain things, but not completely. And seeing all of the wins that you've had and the people's lives that you've affected in a good way is really inspiring. And I know the thing that I liked about because obviously I'm doing the promissory note course with you at the moment, and the thing that I really liked about that, apart from obviously being able to create our own currency, if you like, is the fact that you say don't do this if you're just looking to enrich yourself, because that's just greed, isn't it? So
yeah, it is, because when it comes down to using promissory note, is a simple fact is this: we can use the tool. The tools are laid out in front of us. The powers that be, whatever you want to call them, they lay everything out, but we are blind until we can see. So we have to unlock the knowledge and unlock whatever wisdom is in there to figure out what tools are they giving for me for that one. For me, when it comes down to things like 3 notice processes, whatever, a lot of them don't work. I know that, because we're crossing jurisdictions. But when it comes to promissory notes, and I looked at it and I thought, if we use their tools correctly and we use it within their boundaries of the game, they can't stop us using it. But the minute we overstep those boundaries, they draw the line in the sand, we step over it. That's when they come for us. So if you like I say, if you're going to be using it to enrich yourself and you're looking to buy gold or silver with it, then the course isn't for you, and I ask you to leave and I'll refund you, because you're not that type of individual I need on the course. It's all about making your life better, knowing the fact you're using the system to its full advantage.
What's the name of that guy you keep mentioning, and I forgot, who did it and is currently in jail?
Oh, that's Winston Shrout.
Yeah.
He used to go around America, and he used to go around the UK and Europe and teaching people promissory notes. And then he started committing fraud by writing promissory notes and banking them himself. I think he got to about 80 odd million before the FBI caught him, and I think he's now still serving. I think he's life in a FedMax prison. He'll never come out alive, because he committed fraud against his own birth trust, which is worse than murder in their eyes.
Right.
There's so many people out there that when they create waves, it's something I've dealt with, because I know I can do it. But whether it's like, and this may be out of left field for you, but like Jordan Peterson, Andrew Tate, these kind of people that start speaking up. Russell Brand is a good example, I think. They start getting all kinds of people saying that they're doing all kinds of things they're not doing, or maybe they do, I don't know. But I'm just like, this seems like, and then that mob mentality jumps on that, and it's like, this doesn't make any sense. Can you people not like take knowledge or information and then dissect it and go? Because I just, with Russell Brand, I think it's a good example. So Parliament went against him, if I'm not mistaken, and they were like, YouTube demonetize him. He's got an essay allegation. Rumble demonetize him, and Rumble was like, no. Have you accused him? Has he been convicted? No. Well, no. But he started talking about things they didn't want him to talk about. But I think that's how you have to change people sometimes. They have to be given new ideas to understand what's out there. So even on like Facebook, I'll post things, and they'll get a lot of reactions. But I'm trying to shake people up to get them to look at things differently.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the only way you can do that is by triggering them.
Yeah. And then they become offended.
Yeah, and I'm like, this isn't my issue. I'm just posting what I feel. Well, I mean, the greatest one was Taylor Swift is a psyop. So they were like, this went insane, and I was like, dear God, it's just a singer. It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. What matters is you.
Yeah.
And how you view these things and what your perspective is on them.
Yeah.
Are either of you a Taylor Swift fan?
No.
I like her new song. It's with Post Malone, but I mean that's just the whole thing. I can still like her music on occasion, but it's like I'm just like, you guys are so tribalistic. You're going here, you're going there. It's like let's argue about everything. My friends like hates trans people, and we have these conversations, and I'm like, bro, I just don't care. And he's like, well, the downfall of every civilization is when this and this happens, and I'm like, maybe you should stop watching conservative news. Because I just don't care.
Yeah, that's basically where I am. It doesn't bother me at all. I don't care what goes on out there. It's up to them. It doesn't enter my realm. Doesn't enter my world. And that's where I want to keep it, because I'm keeping myself calm as best I can and keep my journey smooth as best I can without trying being pushed off every week.
Yeah, because there's a sort of there's something that is sort of, I don't know, I'm not sure about it. One, should we care about what's going on in the outside world? And then think, well, why should we care if we should? Because then is everything out there a distraction, or is everything out there trying to show us something? Is kind of like which? Was it a bit of both? It is. I don't know. I can't really reconcile that one at the minute.
I think it's a bit of both. There's more distraction than like an open your eyes. I mean, for me, I don't believe half of what I see on social media, because CGI now is so almost nearly perfect what they can reproduce now. You just cannot believe anything you see, and that's why I always go down to say the truth can only be seen by thine own eyes. If you actually witness it, then it's the truth. You can't believe anything. I mean, I said to you before we started, the truth can only be spoken out of the mouths of two or more good men. I mean, otherwise I'm babbling. If there's no one to back up what I'm saying as truth and gospel or whatever, all I'm doing is babbling. So when it comes to what's out there at the moment, I'm aware of what's going on. I'm aware of what's happening. But if I want to get involved in it, then I'll have a look. But 9 times out of 10, I just don't give a shit. Excuse my language. I don't care about it because it's just not worth it.
Yeah, you can swear. It's almost like I feel like we can be aware. And we will know when we have to act on something. We'll get that gut feeling. It's almost like yeah.
I suppose I mean, for me, one of the biggest things I've been distracted with recently is the chemtrails. I mean, I've been putting a lot of energy into that, and I thought, what am I doing? It's awful what they're doing. We know that, but what can we do to stop it? Do we come together, our spiritual minds, and then blow it out the sky, or whatever? Because we know we can do that. Tom Barnett proved that in Byron Bay when he dispersed the clouds. So we know as a group of people, if we put our mind to it, literally as they say, put your mind to it, we can make things happen.
And you got the Tower Busters with Orgonite and stuff like that made that saw a documentary, or as a guy gave a 2-hour presentation on geoengineering, and they brought rain to areas of Africa that hadn't had any rain for 100 years or whatever it was. I can't remember the exact figure, just by sorting out the weather system with these Orgonite towers. And then earlier there was this people are arguing about, there was this plane with these long trails, and then this plane with a short trail, and they said this is a chemtrail, this is a contrail, and then people in the comments were saying, yeah, no, they're both contrails, it depends on the moisture in the air or something like that. There's no such thing as chemtrails. And you think, well, if that's what you want to, it's fair enough. But yeah, I guess no one, we never, I say we're never going to agree on anything, but
no.
like it sometimes.
Again, it's we know. Do we know? People claim what they're spraying at the aircraft. I mean, I used to work in aviation, and we never used to see these back in the 80s and 90s. Never saw these in the sky. It was just little trails behind, they dissipate. But now we're seeing crisscross patterns. That's not normal flight paths. But again, are we paying attention to that? And are we paying that attention with our energy? Are we giving it more power by paying attention to it? Should we not just, as a Netflix movie came out, Don't Look Up, should we not do that and just concentrate on other things? But I'd love us to get together, a group of people, and sit around and see if we can actually do it with our minds and just disperse the clouds. I think we have the power to do it.
Yeah, I think we have those abilities, because I do like past lives. I do a lot of different stuff spiritually, but innate abilities. So I'll give you a story. Me and an ex of mine were fighting. I would never really buck up to this girl because it just wasn't, didn't want to. But this one time I did. And I have seen myself control weather patterns. So, but it's more of like a rage thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like it's ability that's in there, So we're fighting and like this storm starts coming. And this isn't normal, but it's happened a few times. And she's like, you hear that? That you're doing that. And I was like, I know. And I was screaming.
Wow.
And then as the storm came at the house that we were in, she's like, you have to stop. And I was like, no. I was like, I'm tired of your shit. I just kept screaming at her. And then lightning hit the place we were in. Just kaboom. And she like, will you stop now? And I was like, yeah. I was like, Jesus. But I've seen myself in other lifetimes like the exact same people I talked about that come after me. Because I think these lifetimes repeat themselves sometimes. I saw myself call lightning from the sky and like barbecue one of them on accident. So I remember these things from other lifetimes because I was like, this had to happen before this situation with these people. So where did it happen? And then I was like, let me go look in the Akashic and my past life memory, and I saw it. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, why do they have to keep repeating? And why does there have to be such division in everything? It's like, it doesn't make any sense, rich or poor. Even, this may be out of left field too, but I'm in Savannah, which is this really haunted city. I used to live there. And I'm still in their chat. And I just like to irritate people sometimes. So they think they're very rich. And now there's people like 10 miles away or 15 minutes away that are building $5 million houses, and their houses are like 700,000. And I'm like, well, how does it feel to know that you're middle class? And they just like go insane. They're like, we're the richest people in Savannah. I'm like, no, you're not, down the street. Because I feel like you have to poke them a little bit sometimes.
We'll see what the boundaries are.
But no, I mean, when you talk about the Akashic records and all that, it sort of goes, whoa. Yeah. So it goes above my head a little bit. I think I've heard a lot about it, and I think, yeah, okay. Then I start questioning things because, for me, I'm 3, maybe 4 years into my spiritual awakening, for whatever you want to call it, and then I hear all this regression hypnotherapy, and I'm still at that stage going, really? Does it work? Do you have? And I know we have had past lives. I mean, James told me some of mine, and I sit there and go, wow, I must do this one day and see what comes up. But I sometimes fight it, if that makes sense.
Well, you Cleopatra. Sorry.
Yeah, a lot of people think they were.
That's everyone's Cleopatra in the past life.
Yeah, I've heard it like 80 times.
On a Friday night.
Or someone's Archangel Michael or something. But anyways, but yeah, I think what I do, one person, Andy, I look at a lot is Edgar Casey. I'm sure you may have heard of him. So like I study Casey like for years, since I've been like the last like 11,
case study
12 years. Yeah, Edgar Casey. So, but like he was so well vetted. That was his thing. He was so well vetted. Like he has so much proof. There's like 15,000 documented cases of him like curing people and finding the Dead Sea Scrolls and all this kind of stuff. He would go into the Akash. So a lot of times I'm looking at these, as my guys are saying, like pure people. for my information because I'm like, okay, this doesn't make sense. It sounds a little too out there. So let me see what I can find and research. And then that will start to open up all these other pathways. Thought. I mean, even as a healer, it's like a lot of times I have to see somebody else doing something and I'm like, okay, let me go look at that. Or I'll read a book that's like 1,000 years old or a couple hundred years old. And I'll just be like, okay, now I'm getting that this over here. Even teachers. So like I'll find teachers that are not mainstream. In Savannah, there was an acupuncturist that did divergent channels, which I think there's maybe like 3 to 10 people in the United States that do that. She was also an exorcist. And even my other teacher was like way out of left field, like this Mayan shamanism from this lineage. But what I'm getting at is I wanted to find teachers that were just so different than everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't even believe in anything I believed in. Because I wanted to see their perspective. And since they were so well vetted by other people, and they were slam people, like needing help, it was like, okay, like, because it's good to question the narrative.
Totally agree.
I'm watching a video series by Anatoly Fomenko. I don't know if either of you have heard of him. That sort of puts into doubt the history that we've been taught. There's another guy, I can't remember what his name is, but I remember Fomenko, but he supposedly, from what I've seen, they provide evidence that these things didn't happen when we're told that they happen.
Mm-hmm.
And how the whole year thing, this is probably not the year 2024, even though we think it's the year 2024, and all of that kind of stuff. That is a year, yeah. But I just find it interesting. I mean, it's not necessarily we can't do anything with it, but I guess, I mean, there's got to be a reason why you feel drawn to look into certain things, isn't there? But speaking of just going back to, you're speaking about storms and thunder and lightning. I saw there's this device that is apparently, from what I've seen, comes up in different cultures throughout history. And speaking of history, and it kind of looks like that. It's kind of, it's not very good drawing, but it's kind of supposed to be like a lightning rod or a thunder rod or something like that. Have you seen it? Either have you seen anything like that?
Yeah. So if I'm not mistaken, I saw this. It's on like a statue in India. And Elon Musk has one. And I forget what it's called. I saw a video on this. And it's like, it's some kind of device. I don't know what it does, but it's like it wields power, I'm hearing. But I know what you're talking about. I just don't know the name of it off the top of my head. I saw this like 2 days ago, and I was like, interesting. So there's all these like, powerful people that have this device, but they don't. I don't think they know what I'm hearing is they don't quite know what it does. That's history. So like Tucker Carlson came out and he said one thing. He used to be on Fox News and they kicked him out, so he's gone rogue. And anyways, so he was like, one thing they haven't told us about is that we've had ancient civilizations just as advanced as us that have been destroyed by cataclysms over and over again. And then we come back over and over again. And we rebuild the same, like we rebuild it a different way. And then we get destroyed again. And then then it comes back and we just build again. And he's like, it's crazy that there's these people that run things and they don't want people to know this. They think they're gods. And they don't want people to know the true history of what's actually happened. We've had so many extinction events in our history that they can trace back. But I mean, it's whether it's Atlantis or the Tartaria thing everyone's talking about the last year, or any of these things. It's like, how long do we go back? Because if I were to look at, like, I don't know if you've heard of Graham Hancock, but like Fingerprints of the Gods or Magicians of the Gods, all these things. I was 20 years old, but the Venetians and all these other things, it's like history goes back. Like we could have been around since the dinosaurs.
If dinosaurs exist.
Yeah, if they exist too, that's a whole nother thing. So,
well, I see my theory on dinosaurs is this: we used to be giants. So were dinosaurs just the small reptiles that we see now?
Yeah. Or were they
That's a lot
dragons?
of oxygen back then, so that is definitely possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite
It's
interesting.
this is just a fantastic journey we're all on. I'm actually getting to the stage now where I'm actually loving this. It's
I know what you mean.
it's yeah, it's hard to put into words because a lot of people say to me, "Aren't you worried about what's going on past? Aren't you worried about?" No. How can I affect it? How can I fix it? I said I have to be conscious of what's going on around me, and I think that's where I've got to the point now. Is I know what's going on. We just have to concentrate on ourselves, become the better version of ourselves every day, and then help others become the better version of themselves as well. And well, that will start a domino effect that everybody will start connecting together. But it goes back to the original bit at the beginning when we said people are just in competition with each other. And
Yeah.
I just wish we could just stop doing that and just say, let's just come together for God's sake. And let's sit around the table, talk, and let's sort this out, and let's make this world a better place. We know we can do it. We can manifest anything we wish. We know that.
Yeah, we can. It requires. I don't know if you've read Emissary of Light. I can't remember who it was by. I read it a few years ago, but it was about this guy who wrote a song about. I think it was about world peace, and he got asked to play at these very. He went to, might have been Bulgaria or Yugoslavia. I can't remember, but it was when the war was happening. I think it was Yugoslavia or Serbia or something like that. But he stumbled across this, I can't really remember. But he went to this retreat or this temple or something like that, and there were these. I think there was these 12. It's very sketchy, but there was this group of people there, and they were masters of meditation. You could say they were monks, but they weren't monks. They were sort of that ilk. And they meditated for a number of hours per day. It was most of the day, I think, to bring peace to the area through their collective consciousness. And it was only a handful of them. There might have even been 6. I can't remember. It was even 12. And this is supposedly a true story. And when one of the pieces, because this was sort of written by the guy who experienced it, and he said that they were so powerful that when the soldiers came to the place where they were able to cloak themselves through the power of their mind, just by combining the power of their conscience, their consciousness. And so that's what we can do. We can do anything really. I guess the sky's the limit almost.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said that what's in here is the most powerful weapon on earth. It literally is. And what power do we wield? How it's been dumbed down for many, many centuries or whatever. So how do we unlock the power that's within? And I think the key is with each and every one of us. We all have what's that? There's a TV series where the kids had little keyholes at the back of their neck, and I think we all hold a key to someone else that we unlock them. And unlock their gifts as well. And that's where I look at it, because again, I see everything's in plain sight. That thing, lock and key. That's just called. And I watched it and I thought, oh, okay, so they can unlock different realms by helping each other out. I thought, yeah, this makes sense. And I watch things with the different eyes now and think, yeah, okay, that makes a lot more sense now than it used to do, because it does.
You see little bits and pieces that you didn't. I guess it's just like watching, rewatching old movies or reading or rereading books. You notice bits that you didn't see before, didn't you? I suppose.
Yeah. Well, we are I'm a firm believer we are the Jedi.
Yeah.
We are sparsely located, and we just have to come together.
One day.
I'm not sure my lightsaber.
Thomas, you got any more questions for Andy?
No, I mean, I just feel like it takes rebellion to change things. But people, sometimes you have to, and I recently saw this thing, and I totally agree with it, that there's just people that have inherently certain ways of being. that's how they've incarnated over and over again. That they have just this certain way they do things. And like for me, it takes shoving things in people's faces sometimes, or doing the very thing that everyone says, like what I talked about with homeless people and these other things. I've got different things in the works. But the thing is that you almost have to show people a better way.
Yeah.
To get them to do it. It's like the only way. Like you mentioned the monks. So in New York, they had a bunch of monks go pray for peace for like a month. They decreased, or for crime rate. They decreased the crime rate. It decreased by like 50% for a month.
Wow.
When they went out there, I think it was like 100 of them. But they did this for like a week or a month or a couple of days. This happened in like the 90s or 80s. And but yeah, it's that the thing is you have to show people, and I feel like you almost have to put it in their face. And I feel like what Jesus did, or whoever, like they just kind of put it in people's faces, and they were like, try to take me out, which sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't, sometimes they do. I think it's just a matter of how controversial it is. I wanted to do this in Savannah, which is a very one of those haunted cities I said before, but I wanted to show people that what they were doing with the ghosts down there, like there's literally 30 ghost tours a night. It's from the 1600s. I know in your countries, guys, that you have much older history than us, but it's one of the oldest cities in the United States. And there's so much wars that have been fought there. So like the energy is so dense. But I'm like, you're trapping these ghosts here, whatever those ghosts are, you're trapping them here. And the pushback from that place, because now you're affecting their money. Their ghost tours, all their Savannah's tourism dollar. And the pushback from people, they're like, some people are like, yes, of course, talk about slavery. Like there's plantations everywhere that there's still people who run this place that were running the plantations, please. But I'm just like, oh, dear God, the pushback, I don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah.
Like, are they going to come in the middle of the night and grab me?
Yeah, let's hope not.
No.
But,
so yeah, I was just like, no, I'm not doing it.
But when you say things like that, don't you feel that you're well protected?
Oh yeah.
I mean, sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say it's one thing that some people say to me. They say, "Oh, aren't you worried about your life?" I said, "No." I said, "Because if it's my time, it's my time. But I know at this moment in time I am protected." And it's weird to have that knowing. A lot of people say, "Really? Oh, come on."
Yeah.
How do you know? But I just know that wherever I go, I am protected.
You have to trust that.
People say that to me. They're like, you deal with like top level like negative things, and I go, I don't fear. They're like, aren't you afraid of these like dark things? I go, no. I'm more afraid of people than I am of any dark entity. I know exactly what a dark entity is going to do. It's chaos. It's going to do something chaotic. Like, I'm not afraid of that. I was like, I'm more afraid of what a human's going to do. So I can't track the human. I can track that. I can track an angel. I can't track that. So even extraterrestrials, you can track what they're going to do depending upon the races. So it's like, you get where I'm going.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Totally get where you go with that one.
Yeah.
This comes down to my saying I don't like people.
Yeah. A lot of people have been saying that to me lately. They're like, I just don't like people anymore. You just have to find the ones that resonate with you. And that group can be very, very small. Very, very small. But sometimes it's trial and error, though, with some people.
No, it is. And that's what I found on my journey was I thought I was resonating with the right people, but then I realized how they weren't resonating at all. It was just my little angel saying that, come on, stop it, walk away. And then Jane got involved and said they're not the right people, but I had to learn it for myself. Had to go through that trial to realize that I'd made that mistake and I was following the wrong people, or I was linking myself in with the wrong people. So again, it's a trial, and I think these are put in your path for you to learn. And if you don't learn, it comes back again and it bites you in the arse basically at the end of the day. So
Yeah, exactly. How do you know until you do it, sort of thing.
Exactly.
You need to know that they're not the people for you, or those are the people for you. You got to try these things. That's like I don't try most things. So, but yeah. Right. I think we're just about. We've got just over an hour. Andy, do you want to just sort of remind us where you are again, and then we'll say goodbye.
Yeah, no, thank you. Once again, thank you for inviting me on this. I really enjoyed the chat. Obviously, you can find me at the website's on screen at the moment. Hopefully, it's still there. So i-am.community. We are on Telegram as well, i-am.community. So, and we're on Facebook. The website community is totally private. There is a subscription to join to keep it private. But yeah, we just want to help as many people and bring the communities together as much as we can. So thank you again.
Have you looked at Rumble? My guides are talking. Have you looked at Rumble?
No, I haven't, to be perfectly honest. It never resonated with me at the time.
Because the thing is, like, you get away with anything on Rumble. But I feel like it's going to be the next big app. I feel like it's going to be the next big thing. I've seen people with 50,000 people in a group. And it's a lot of, they'll have their own shows. But those 50,000 people, like, they'll watch, like, 30,000 of them will watch everything you do. Like with TikTok, it's a little different, you know? So yeah, people come in and go out. But with that, it seems to be a very close. I'm just getting that message to give you. Like, just look at it because I keep getting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Rumble, I've noticed because I'm on Rumble and because I stream my sound healing stuff on Rumble, and I have noticed from looking at the numbers that I get is so much more than what I get on YouTube, and also looking at other people who have gone live and streaming, the views that they get on Rumble is, I think, bloody hell.
Yeah, no, I'll look into that. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you.
Saturated. Yeah, it's not overly saturated. That's the thing. It's still a Wild West. Why I love talk 2.5 years ago, because it was the Wild West. Or 3 years ago, I was like, I can take my shirt off, I can rant, rave, and channel and heal, and no one's gonna stop me. But if I tried that now, they would take my live feed down in 3 seconds. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that comment. Thank you.
Right. We'll wrap it up. Thank you, brother. Andy,
you're most welcome. Thank you.
And yeah, we'll see you all again next week. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.